Hello everyone, all 22 and a few film review, giving you guys the next episode of Draft Wraps, my draft class analysis series where we dive deep into every class, letting you guys know how I feel about every pick according to my big board, where they were taken, are they a fit, who's left on the board. We got projections for starting, projections for immediate roles if they will compete for them, all that good stuff. So if you want to know about the Bears class and any other of the 32 teams, make sure you stick around as we get through the whole NFL here. But without further ado, let's get into the Bears class here. Oh, and also, the final grade will also be a letter and numerical grade. The numerical grade will be computed by an equation that I came up with, so you guys would have more of a concrete feel about how I feel about every class, especially classes that share the same letter grade. So, let's get into it. The Bears, their first pick, they take Colston Loveland, a tight end out of Michigan. Their next pick, Luther Burden, a wide receiver out of Mizzou. Ozzie Trapillo, a tackle out of Boston College. Shamar Turner, an IDL out of Texas A&M. Ruben Hippolyte II, a linebacker out of Maryland. Zaw Frazier, cornerback out of UTSA. Luke Newman, a guard out of Michigan State. And Kyle Monangai, a running back out of Rutgers. Let's start off with Colston Loveland here, taken with the 10th pick. They did not trade up for this pick. They sat and picked here. Definitely not the route I was expecting them to go. I understand it. You think of what Colston Loveland is as a receiving tight end right now. He is kind of that perfect mixture of Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to be used in those similar roles as that slot, as the true inline Y at times when they sub out Cole Kmet or do some 12 stuff. They're going to get very, very versatile with him, move him around a lot. He's going to be doing a lot of intermediate and deep outbreaking routes for them. Really like this pick for them because of the mold. Ben Johnson, of course, coming over from Detroit. He was the Lions OC for years, coming to be their head coach. He wants to mold this offense how he had that Detroit offense. He wants to make that kind of the same build, same type of powerhouse. First step in doing that, bringing in Colston Loveland to do some of that, like I said, Amon-Ra type of work. He was taken at 10. He was 25 on my big board. I still really like Colston Loveland, but I was not as high on him as the kind of consensus or the media, a lot of big boards out there. I just think he has a lot more to go in terms of being a true inline Y. I really, really love his receiving ability. Needs to work on holding on to balls through contact over the middle at times. But in terms of his blocking ability, super high effort guy, just not incredibly strong, not a great mover. But he has all the effort and basically all the effort, all the want to be able to become a nice inline blocker. Just needs to work on getting stronger, getting his pads a little bit lower so he can get better leverage in driving guys. But it's not out of his game. I had Tyler Warren ranked ahead of him. He was my number 2 tight end. He was taken ahead of Tyler Warren, but I understand it, especially for the mold, the fit they're trying to go with. It makes sense. A 6'6", 248-pound tight end, 21, nice young prospect, which is pretty rare in this class. Did not qualify for an RAS, did not do all the testing. In 2024, he had 56 receptions on 82 targets for 582 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's 10.4 yards per catch. In 2024, he was a second-team Big Ten, was second behind Tyler Warren, and he set his school records for tight end receptions in 2024 with those 56 receptions. I graded this an A-. If they got him a little bit closer to his true value to me and tight end was more of a need for them, this definitely would have been a higher grade for me. But you have Cole Kmet already there. He's on a contract. You have a lot of needs you need to fill on this roster. Tight end wasn't the biggest one, but I still like the fit. I still like the direction. So still an A- for me. Still like it. Luther Burden III, their next pick, the 39th pick. 7th pick of the second round. They got this from the Bryce Young trade. Kind of rounding out that Bryce Young trade. He was the 16th player on my board. He was my number 3 overall receiver. He was the 6th one taken off the board. There was a lot of talk about him falling during the draft due to not off the field concerns, but more maturity/character concerns. I could understand him falling to the second round because of that, especially in this wide receiver class where everyone kind of had different opinions on who was 1, who was 2, who was 3, who was 4, kind of all that. So I understand him falling due to that. I think this is absolutely incredible value. He has kind of that diva receiver, not diva that's kind of gets kind of overused, but kind of that like dog alpha, I'm the best receiver on the field kind of mentality, which you like to see out of a wide receiver, and for him to fall to the second, I think that's just going to make him want to fight even harder. I think it's going to just make him even better. I love this. I graded it an A+. Not only is it a great value, like I said, 16. He went at 39. You got this from the Bryce Young trade, so it's just an extra pick that you got. Love it as a value in terms of positionally. He was my third ranked wide receiver. So it's great. I think he's going to do really, really well in the system. Really good yak. I think he's a 3-level separator as well, has great athleticism. I think he was held back by that Mizzou offense a lot. A lot of people are scared due to his drop of production. A lot of people say he's a screen merchant. He can separate, and he has the twitchiness to be able to do it. He can contort his body decently well, great with the ball in his hands. I think they're going to get him a lot of schemed up touches early. I think he's going to get a decent amount of snaps. It's hard to say how much 12 and how much 11 they're going to use, having Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet there, especially because, they have DJ Moore. They have Romo Dunze. So Luther Burden's going to be more of their third guy. I still think he's going to get a lot of snaps. Still think he's going to get a lot of touches. Going to be an explosive player for them. I absolutely love this fit. A 6 foot, 206 pound receiver, very sturdy build, 21.4, going to be 22 by the end of the season. Had 61 receptions on 81 targets for 676 yards, 6 touchdowns. Also had 9 carries for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. So very explosive just overall with the ball in his hands. Only 3 drops on the season. Was a 2024 first team SEC selection and a 2023 second team All-American. Production dropped off a bit from 2023, but I don't think that's 100% to do with Luther Burden. The quarterback play he was dealing with was definitely not above average. He was dealing with some subpar play. Not going to give him 100% of the blame there. Again, rated an A+ pick. I absolutely loved it for them. Right now, I think he's going to be an explosive impact, and down the line, I think he's going to be an explosive impact. And it's just a great value in my opinion. Their next pick, Ozzie Trapillo, the tackle out of Boston College, taken with the 56th pick, the 24th pick of the second round. They got this from a trade back with Buffalo. They had the 41st pick. Buffalo sends them 56, 62, and 109 for 41, 72, and 240. So basically backing up 15 spots to move up 10 spots later, and then also move up a lot of spots from 240 to 109. So I like this trade for them in terms of just total pick value. This is a team I thought could have traded back to gather more picks, especially because, they had that top of the second round pick with Luther Burden. Don't love this pick for them. I get the vision of it. Getting a tackle allows you to be more flexible with your tackle contracts. Braxton Berrios is going to be a free agent, I think, at the end of the season or next season. So Ozzie Trapillo allows you to move on from him if you want to. Still don't love it. He was number 103 on my big board, taken at 56. So taken him very early. I thought this was kind of a back end of the third round type guy. In this tackle class, this tackle class was very thin. So a lot of tackles are going to get pushed up the board. I thought this was going to be the case with Ozzie, and he might get taken at the top of the third, maybe like the very last picks of the second. So don't love the kind of big board value of it. He was my 7th overall tackle, taken at 6. So positionally, I don't hate it. They did get this from a trade down. I just think they could have went in a lot more impactful picks right now, especially if you're looking at backup linemen. Joe Tierney's 34. Jonah Jackson has had a lot of injuries in his career. Getting a backup interior, I think, would have been more helpful than getting a backup tackle. I get that this allows you to be more flexible with Braxton Berrios, but I don't think Ozzie Trapillo is going to be that much of an upgrade over him, especially in his first year starting. Now, Ozzie Trapillo, as you can see, 6'8", 316, had an 8.91 RAS. Not a bad mover on tape. Obviously, all the length, just a behemoth of a person. But just is very raw, in my opinion. Needs to work on using his hands well with his feet, marrying the two. He's very clunky with his feet in pass protection. Sometimes he'll lunge out and get very overextended and lean, which hurts him a lot. Didn't look great in the Senior Bowl, but I understand it. Just not what I would have done. I think interior D-line would have been much more impactful in this spot. Maybe especially safety. Safety, interior D-line, interior O-line were kind of the top 3 ones I wanted them to go, especially safety. You think Kevin Byard kind of coming to the end of his career, Jaquan Brisker having a lot of concussions. you need another body in that room that can fill in for one of those guys or maybe be the long-term starter. A lot of good safeties at this spot. But instead you take a backup tackle that is probably going to fill in for you next year, isn't going to give a lot of snaps for you this year in the second, and probably isn't going to be an extreme upgrade long-term over who's at your left tackle spot. Again, don't hate it, but I don't love it. On 362 pass block snaps, 2 sacks, 1 hit, and 12 hurries, was a 2024 first-team ACC selection and a 3-year starter. He has starts at left tackle and right tackle at Boston College. Was a lot better at left than right. I don't think you want him playing over at right. But I think it's not a bad pick, not a great pick. Not going to be very impactful year one. Probably going to be impactful long term, but I don't think he's going to be an exceptional tackle. I'm a little bit nervous about it, to be honest. C+ grade for me. Again, not terrible, but could have went a lot of different ways. Could have went in different positions that would have helped you more this year, and he probably even helped you more down the line. Their next pick, they go Shamar Turner, an IDL out of Texas A&M, with pick 62, the 30th pick of the second round. Again, this was part of the Buffalo trade where they got pick 56, pick 62, and pick 109. Again, not a pick I loved. He was taken at 62, number 5 on my big board, or number 95 on my big board. So I thought you could have waited an entire another round. This was a third round type guy to me, definitely not a second round type guy. In terms of positional value, he was the 6th IDL taken off the board. He was my 13th ranked one, so I really don't like it in terms of positional value. If I really wanted them to go IDL, like I said before, I wanted them to go with more of a pass rusher. Considering Rady Jarrett is coming to the end of his time, he's not the pass rusher he once was. Jervon Dexter, not really a pass rushing type. I wanted them to get a pass rusher. Now, Shamar Stewart does have some pass rush chops, so he kind of does fit that mold. But if you were to get a pass rusher here, I think Omar Norman Lott, so much better day one as a pass rusher, who went a pick later. Darius Alexander, so much better as a pass rusher day one, who went at the very top of the third. I think Vernon Broughton and CJ West, even though they're much better early down guys, and that's kind of their mold, I think they still show pass rush chops similar to Shamar Turner, and I think those would have been better overall picks. Again, I like them going IDL here. Just in terms of who's on the board, I really don't get it. Also not a great scheme fit for them. Go listen to EJ over at Bootleg talk about it. He's a big Bears truther. Doesn't really fit kind of their 4-3 kind of two-gap style. Don't really understand it 100%, but it's okay. Is a 22-year-old going to be 23 at the very end after the season ends? So you like him being 22 for the duration of the season. A 2-sack, 7 hurry, 5.5 TFL season for him, as well as 36 tackles, 1 PBU, and 1 forced fumble. Not terrible production. Was a freshman, all SEC selection. Did not kind of continue those chops. 3-year starter, 2023 second team SEC selection. So, not terrible. Got a C for me. Again, just a lot of other bodies that I think if you wanted a true pass rusher would have been much better. And if you wanted just an overall IDL, I think are also better. Also, not a great scheme fit. So it gets a C for me. Not the worst pick in the world, but just multitude of directions I would have rather them went otherwise. Maybe you take a safety here and you take IDL in the 4th. I would have loved that too. Their next pick, they go Ruben Hippolyte II, a linebacker out of Maryland, with the 30th pick of the 4th round, pick 132. They got this from, again, trading with the Bills. Another trade back, a different scenario. Pick 109, they traded back to the Bills and got pick 132 and 169 in return. Very interesting pick for me. I'm not trying to trash on this player at all. Just trying to kind of build the kind of value, the kind of projection of the value, kind of the vision. Ruben Hippolyte II, a very athletic guy, ran a 4.42, had I think a 1.47 split or something like that. Crazy athletic ability. 5'11", 236, so a very thick, stocky build. Has NFL weight, has NFL speed. If he hits his upside, he can be an NFL linebacker and be a good starter for you. But taken in the 4th round, this is a guy who didn't make PFF's top 350 board. They didn't even have a write-up on him. Dane Brugler over at the Beast, who does over 400 prospects. I think it's like 350 to 400 prospects. Had him as their LB 35 and didn't even have a write-up on him. The guys over at Bootleg, Brett Coleman and EJ, they love talking about day 3 guys. They do a whole day 3 stream where they stream the entire day 3 of the NFL draft and talk about every selection. Neither of those guys watched him or even knew who he was. So to get a guy that a ton of dudes that do this full time, that do over 350 to 400 dudes when only 256 get drafted, the fact that none of those guys had a write-up on him, NFL didn't even have his stats up on his draft profile. They list like all their years of playing, their stats. They didn't even have like a full write-up on him. You probably could have waited much further down to get this guy. Again, I'm not trying to trash the player. He has all the athleticism and the stockiness to be able to play at the NFL. But to take a guy that so many people that do this full time didn't even have a write-up on, to take him in the 4th, you probably could have waited till the 5th. A project like this usually gets taken like the 6th or the 7th. So to get him in the 4th, I think there was a laundry list of linebackers that would have went before him, or you don't feel forced to take him at this spot. Again, there's still some safeties that can play for you, and you really need safety. So I would have loved them to take safety here. I just don't 100% get it. I think this is a very, very big project in terms of playing right now. He is going to compete for their LB3 or 4, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him get snaps in year 1, especially taken at this pick. Just a little bit nervous about how it's going to go. Had 66 tackles in 2024, so not ultra productive in that sense, but 6.5 TFLs, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, 3 PBUs, 1 sack. Nice production, honestly, in that sense. Was a 4-year starter at Maryland, so it's very interesting how he did not flash or pop earlier, especially all the talent that's come out of Maryland's defense recently. Jordan Phillips, Deontay Banks. You know, watching these guys, I've watched him on the field, just it's never really flashed. Was a 2023 third team Big Ten selection. Again, this is a I don't get it pick, just based on the value. This is a guy who's probably going to go in the 6th, the 7th, maybe the 5th. You take him at the 4th when you have other needs on the board as well. Just didn't 100% get it. Their next pick, Zoff Frazier, a cornerback out of UTSA, taken with the 169th pick, the 33rd pick of the 5th round. Again, trading back with that second trade back of the Bills, getting 132 and 169 for 109. A 6'3", 186-pound corner, going to be 25 during the middle of the season. Had a long kind of journey, starting out at Southern Illinois, then spent 2 years, I think it was Coffeyville Community College, where he was super ultra productive, and then sits on the reserve list for 2 years at UTSA, and off his first year off the reserve list, not even his first year just truly starting, first year off the reserve list, he gets 6 interceptions, 9 PBUs, 37.7 passer rating allowed in coverage, which is exceptional, 24 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 forced fumble. This guy also ran a 4.36, which is crazy. Actually, I think the 147 split was for him. I think Ruben Hippolyte, who I said had a 147 10-yard split. I think he had a 152. Still exceptional for a linebacker. But Zoff Frazier, talk about a guy who's 6'3", has elite length, 4.36, elite speed. His kind of agility measurables weren't as high, but you know it's still agility that you're okay with on the outside, especially with that length and that speed, that makeup ability. Also, elite ball production, 6 interceptions and 9 PBUs in his first year as an actual starter at UTSA, set the UTSA record for interceptions in a single season. To get this with pick 33 in the 5th, a compensatory pick in the back end of the 5th, I love it. I thought this guy, with this production, with this length, with this athletic measurable testing, I thought he was going to go in the 4th for sure. I wouldn't have been surprised if he snuck in with a compensatory pick in the 3rd, just because of the height, weight, speed kind of build with the ball production. Falls at the very, very end of the 5th. Absolutely love it. I think he's going to compete for their 3rd outside corner, not saying their top 3. They have Tyreek Stevenson. They have Jalen Johnson. They have Kyler Gordon, who just got a fat contract in the slot for them. They have their starting 3. but you think about that next outside guy up, I think he's going to immediately compete for that position. So to get a value like that in the 5th, also getting a value on the type of high weight speed production like this in the 5th, absolutely love it. I think this is great value for them. Again, a guy that may never hit his upside, but an ultra productive, ultra athletic guy. If he hits his upside, insane pick for the 5th round. I absolutely love this for them. Their next pick, the 195th pick, the 19th pick of the 6th round, they got this from a trade with the Rams. The Rams sent them 148. They trade back, get 195, and a 4th rounder in the next year's class. I like this for them. A guy that is a 4-year starter, and in this season on 417 pass block snaps, gave up 0 sacks, 0 hits on only 9 hurries. A little bit of a small, I wouldn't say smaller guard. He's not like plus size at 6'3", 312. That's still starting size at the NFL. Going to be 23 in his rookie season. Put up a 9.67 RAS. So when we talk about the middle of the 6th, getting interior line depth, which I said was one of their top needs I wanted them to go after, getting a guy with nice production, over 400 pass block snaps with not allowing his quarterback to even get hit, and is an ultra athletic tester. I like it. May never be an ultra productive guard, but taking a high upside, high athletic mover in the 6th round with nice production, I can't hate it at all. Especially in the Big Ten, they have a lot of good interior guys. Absolutely like this for them. Don't hate it at all. Their next pick, they go Kyle Monangai, a running back, with the 233rd pick 17 of the 7th round. They got this from the Khalil Herbert trade, sending Khalil Herbert over to the Bengals in Cincinnati. Love this pick. Absolutely love this pick. Kyle Monangai, I understand why he falls as someone who's not ultra athletic, someone who doesn't have a ton of upside, but someone who has NFL back capabilities. Even if, like I said, he's never going to be a top 10 back, he might not ever be an above average back. This is an NFL back. And to get him in the very, very back end of the 7th, I think he's going to compete for playing time straight away. To get someone that's going to compete for that time straight away in the back end of the 7th, or not the back end, but the middle of the 7th, I think that's great value. Absolutely great value. Ben Johnson, like we said before, coming over from Detroit. He was in Detroit when they shipped DeAndre Swift off to the Bears, so he's not going to be the biggest fan of DeAndre Swift. Roschon Johnson, I'm not ready to give up on yet, but he hasn't gotten a ton of playing opportunity there. I don't think they absolutely are enamored with him. I think Kyle Monangai could come in, and even if he doesn't win the job right away, he's going to compete for significant snaps, and I wouldn't be surprised if he took this job at some point in the season. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So when you talk about someone who can potentially come in and compete for a starting role in the 7th round, love that value. Absolutely love that value. A 5'8", 211 running back, very, very short, thick build, going to be 23 at the start of the season, a 4.03 RAS. Not a great tester, ran a 4.6, but they showed they're not scared to do that. Roschon Johnson also had a 4.6. Again, this is a guy with nice vision, 0 fumbles in his entire career, was very productive this season, a 2024 first-team Big Ten selection, had 1,279 yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry, not a ton of receiving production, but again, a very sturdy early down back with 0 fumbles in his career that could come in and potentially compete for a lot of snaps right away. Love that in the 7th round. I think that is an absolutely exceptional pick. So, like I said before, love the top end of this class, love the very back end of this class. Just a lot of question marks in the middle. I think question marks on where they went, question marks on who was left on the board that would have been better for them, different positions that maybe more of an impact. They never got a safety in this class, which really scares me. Jaquan Brisker gets another injury, or if, Kevin Byard kind of starts falling off again due to age, the safety room can look very questionable this season. Don't 100%, love this class, but I love a lot of the players they got here, and I think it is going to be a very impactful class. Still a B- for me, 2.92875, my 27th overall class. So, not the best class in the world, but not the worst class. I thought there was other classes in this draft that were much worse than this one. I think this class has potential to have very, very high impact, I just think Ozzy Trapillo's not going to give you a ton of impact year one. I don't think he's much of a long-term upgrade over Baxton Berrios. Shamar Turner, I think there was a ton of other interior D linemen that would have been better pass rushers for you right now, or would have fit your scheme better. Ruben Hippolyte, I think you could have waited like 2 or 3 rounds to get. So in terms of value, it's just not great. But Colston Level and Luther Burden, love those picks. Zoff Frazier, Luke Newman, Kyle Monankai, love those picks. And even though I don't love Shamar Turner and Ruben Hippolyte, I think those are guys that are going to be competing for playing time very, very early and definitely still have some decent upside to them. So again, this class has the potential to be a very good class. Just a lot of question marks in the middle of it for me. Still think it's going to give them a nice impact in year one. Had a lot of trouble giving this a B-, but like I said in previous videos, very good drafting class, or very good drafting year for the NFL in general. So a lot of these classes are going to slide down a little bit, but like this class for them a lot. If you made it to this point, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. If you love what you're hearing, if you have any discussion, kind of tips for me or insight that you think I'm not very talking about, discuss with me below. I love talking to you guys about this stuff. I love talking about football. Love trying to learn and get better. I am a student, and I am always trying to get better at how I present things, how I talk, how I watch film, all that good stuff. So thank you guys. If you want to stick around for the rest of the classes, make sure to subscribe below so you don't miss any of these other drafts coming out. Thank you guys. I hope you have a great day.